From downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Overnight wind gusts cut power to 12,000 customers. What about the wind? What about our temperatures today? I'll have that chilly forecast just ahead.
And an Oakland County Circuit judge exceeds the sentencing guidelines for a former TV reality star on charges of child pornography. We'll tell you why.
And breaking right now, the Fraser sinkhole situation taking yet another dramatic turn. Repairs continuing after a natural gas line was struck by workers at the sinkhole earlier today. At Tops the News at noon, we have just learned that the leak has been taken care of, so now there are no customers without gas. However, workers will continue to make those repairs. Meantime, overflowing sewage from that busted sewer line no longer being pumped into the Clinton River. Local 4's Nick Monticelli is live at the scene, and Nick, quite a mess out there. I can imagine people living in that community are frustrated.
Yeah, Hank, good afternoon to you. I got to tell you what a difference 12 hours makes. I was here live at 11 o'clock last night. None of this was going on because, as you mentioned, that gas line was busted, but that changed just about 20 minutes ago. They finally got that capped off. The gas is not on yet, but they do have that at least shut off, or the cap at least in place as of right now. I do want to show you some new video from Sky 4 taken earlier this morning. That sinkhole, I don't know if it's getting larger, but the home does continue to fall into it. More bricks are falling off of it. The roof line has moved even further, so that is a scary situation. Just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen there. There is good news, though, that we can report as we switch to some next video. The good news is that the overflowing sewage has stopped. It is no longer pumping into the Clinton River. It is unfortunately quite foul. The MDEQ is out there, workers from the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, taking a look at what was done, what damage was done, because it was a hard decision, either let that go into the Clinton River or let it go into the basements. Neither thing they wanted to do, but they simply had to. We are joined live now by the mayor of Fraser, Joe Nichols. Joe, we are making considerable progress on this, but there is still so much to do. What is the latest?
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Well, the events of today have continued to remind us of what a fluid situation is. A lot of moving parts, and they're going to continue moving. What I've been told this morning at my update is that we did hit the gas main. It was a main. It wasn't a trunk line into a neighborhood because you can't shut the main down because it'll affect so many more people. That has been repaired. I was notified just on my way over here that the gas line has been repaired. The leak has been stopped. I was notified this morning that we only had one pump online as of 9 a.m. And that the readings were coming back that we were going to be able to shut that off. I have been told that, just like you, that has been shut off. We are not pumping in there to the Clinton River, and that yes, the MDEQ is on site, but they were and have been involved since the moment we found out this could be a possibility.
Now, yesterday you said we were in triage mode to determine how bad this is, how large the sinkhole is, how they're going to fix it. Are they making progress in that direction?
With the Corps of Engineers this morning, they are making, every day is going to be progress. They're in construction. There are things that come up that are unforeseen, in case in point, the gas line. Also, weather. The difference a day makes. Yesterday was 57, 59 degrees, and today it's probably 39.
Every day is a progress.
Right. So we are making progress, absolutely.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We're going to stay update with you. We're going to have updates live here, of course, at 4, at 5, and 6. Oh, and that's right. They did want to mention that the Henry Ford Macomb Health Center here off of 15 Mile has reopened now. So if there are medical emergencies, you need some urgent care, you can come here. Now, you're going to have to go through a little bit of a barricade, but you can come in. Mayor, thank you very much. We've got a live update at 4, 5, and 6. We are live in Fraser. Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
All right, Nick, thank you. We know you'll stay on top of those developments there today. Former Survivor star Michael Skupin learned his fate today in a Pontiac courtroom. The former reality show star facing child porn charges and accusations that he was involved in a Ponzi scheme. Local 4's Priya Mann joining us live from Pontiac. And Priya, I understand that he'll be headed off to jail.
That's right, Hank. The judge sentenced him to 1 to 4 years in prison for possessing child pornography. And the judge criticized the defense here, saying that Skupin's child was called to testify on his behalf. The defense also tried to cast suspicion on a stepson. In the end, Skupin left the courthouse in handcuffs.
Your Honor, calling the case People versus Michael Skupin, case number 2016-258965-FH.
Although convicted by a jury on 4 counts of child pornography, Michael Skupin maintained his innocence.
I never, ever said who, what, when, where, why these pictures were on there or viewed. I just maintain that I didn't do it.
Detectives found the images of sexually abused children on Skupin's laptop while he was being investigated for a Ponzi scheme. His defense attorney tried to cast suspicion on Skupin's 17-year-old stepson. Prosecutors say he never expressed remorse.
He's a threat because the only person that matters to him is him, and that ego gets in the way of him viewing other people, children, his stepson, the victims of his financial crimes, as like actual human beings.
It's a stunning fall from grace for the 54-year-old former Survivor contestant. Oakland County Circuit Court Judge Wendy Potts sentenced him to 1 to 4 years in prison for child porn.
For the reasons the court has stated, the court is exceeding the advisory guidelines.
And Skupin was also convicted of a Ponzi scheme and was ordered to pay restitution of close to $32,000 for those financial crimes, and he will also have to register as a sex offender. Reporting live from the Oakland County Courthouse in Pontiac, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
Priya, thank you. Thousands of families without power after a heavy wind swept through the area last night. DTE estimating 12,000 customers lost power overnight. Those outages scattered throughout Metro Detroit, stretching from downriver to northern Oakland and Macomb counties. Well, right now, a dramatic change in the weather. Yesterday, we were dealing with mid-50s. It was a nice, calm day. Today, we've got the wind and much colder.
Yeah, the wind fortunately has settled down a bit, Hank, but last night those gusts were pretty serious. I mean, take a look at some of these gusts. Waterford, 43-mile-per-hour gust. Ann Arbor, 41, 37 at Metro Airport, and most everybody was in that 33 to 36 mile-per-hour range. So we had some pretty serious gusts. That's enough to bring down limbs, and of course the limbs then bring down the power line. So fortunately, most of those people are going to have their power restored by tonight. Current wind speeds, these are not gusts, these are wind speeds, are generally between 10 and 20 miles per hour. Any reporting station that is reporting gusts, they're like 20 to 25 miles per hour. That's not going to do a whole lot of damage. So fortunately, we've kind of taken the edge off of that wind. Temperature is the other story. If you were watching me early this morning on Local 4 News today, these are pretty much the same numbers. We have temperatures in the upper 20s in the outlying areas in close to the city. It's 32 degrees, and you factor in that wind, and the wind chills right now are in the teens to low 20s. So it's a chilly one out there. Dress appropriately if you're heading out. And there's going to be no change this afternoon. Lots of clouds, maybe a flurry or a light snow shower. And again, these temperatures and the wind chill staying the same. We'll talk about your New Year's Eve weekend forecast coming up in just a bit. But don't forget, you can always get the 4-zone forecast on clickondetroit.com. Just go to the weather page and click on the 4-zone weather tab. Hank?
Well, thank you. Our Detroit Lions missing a chance to clinch a playoff spot with their loss to the Cowboys last night, but it is not over yet. It all comes down to Sunday night to claim the NFC title. Cowboys wide receiver Dez Bryant threw his first career touchdown pass and caught 2 touchdown passes as well last night. Cowboys star running back Ezekiel Elliott ran in for 2 touchdowns. At the half, things were looking good. The Lions staying in this game. They were tied at 21, but that was the last time the Lions would get on the board. They lost to the Cowboys last night down in the other Big D, 42 to 21. Now, despite the loss, the division title will still come down to the Sunday night game at Ford Field. That's when our Lions take on the Green Bay Packers. Things are going to get started earlier in the day when the Red Wings will be playing the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then followed by Local 4 News at 6 o'clock. Football coverage of that big game on Sunday begins at 7 o'clock, Football Night in America, and of course the game right here only on Local 4. Still to come here at noon, a historic visit by the Japanese Prime Minister to Hawaii, what he did that has veterans and witnesses very pleased today. Also, mayhem at the mall, chaos breaking out at several big malls all across the country. The intense video right after the break.
Visit.
As people across the country flock to malls to spend their Christmas cash, chaotic scenes have been caught on camera, resulting in serious injuries. We begin in Aurora, Colorado, where police say nearly 500 people were involved in a massive brawl. Snapchat video also shows shoppers moving quickly to the exits. Officers say nearly 500 people there were in the food court and in the mall when that fight broke out. Families were escorted to emergency exits as police tried to contain the scene. At least 2 people were hurt there. We now take you to New York, where 7 people were injured after shoppers thought they heard gunshots at the food court. Police say most of the injuries were minor. Shoppers calling the scene a stampede as they rush to get outside to safety.
We were actually in the Pink store when a lot of people were rushing in there. I was with my son and my wife, and my son fell down. They almost ran over him. It was pretty intense.
Were you scared?
Yes.
Police now going through surveillance video. So far, no one has been arrested. Another scene in Tennessee, 3 people recovering after someone set off fireworks inside the mall. Officials say several teenagers threw about 20 firecrackers into a store at the shopping center in Chattanooga. Police say the sound caused a mad rush among shoppers who thought they were hearing gunfire. Well, today, history being made in Hawaii as Pearl Harbor visited by a Japanese leader for the first time. Japan's prime minister beginning the historic trip by arriving this morning at Pearl Harbor. He then visited the Punch Bowl Cemetery where he laid a ceremonial wreath. 95-year-old Pearl Harbor witness and serviceman Robert Lee says he is glad the prime minister took the time to visit.
Hate is the greatest destroyer of anyone. The idea that you can harbor hate will destroy you.
The Prime Minister will also meet with President Barack Obama at the USS Arizona Memorial today. It will mark the first time an American president and Japanese leader have visited the site together. Donald Trump taking to Twitter again, weighing in on the UN Israel resolution. This after his intervention into that issue last week drew criticism that he was overstepping his bounds. President-elect Donald Trump in one of his first post-Christmas tweets taking aim at the United Nations after the U.S. allowed the passage of a UN resolution condemning Israeli settlement activity in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Trump tweeting in part, quote, "The United Nations has such great potential, but right now it is just a club for people to get together, talk, and have a good time." There has been broad international criticism of Israeli settlement construction, seen by critics as an obstacle to the Mideast peace process. The Security Council's non-binding resolution would likely require follow-up from the UN to take any immediate effect, but the resolution's wording may have a longer-term impact, stating that settlement activity has, quote, "no legal validity and constitutes a flagrant violation under international law." The measure limits Israel's ability to negotiate on the international stage regarding legality of the settlements and continues to come under harsh criticism from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office.
It really is an outrageous resolution.
A spokesperson for Netanyahu singling out the White House.
We have ironclad information, frankly, that the Obama administration really helped push this resolution and helped craft it.
The Obama administration has previously rejected similar accusations, and Israel has not offered specifics on their claim. Meantime, today, President-elect Trump taking to Twitter again, saying, quote, "The world was gloomy before I won. There was no hope. Now the market is up nearly 10% and Christmas spending is over $1 trillion. Still to come here at noon, winter blast. People in some parts of the country digging out of the snow. We'll take you there and show you the video.
Oh man, remember yesterday's 57 degrees? Remember that record high? Remember how balmy that felt? Yeah, well, that's all gone, and now we just have clouds, and we're trying to watch for some snowflakes. So we'll talk about that, and we'll get into your New Year's weekend forecast just ahead.
Tonight, it's Chicago Fire at 10, then at 11. A family's shocking secret.
Our first instinct is to blame and to judge.
A sibling they had hidden.
He's our brother, he's an uncle, he's a son.
Now they're pushing shame aside, revealing their story, and encouraging other families to do the same.
Tonight on Local 4 News at 11.
When a car's Well, as many of us continue to celebrate the holidays, some parts of the country are experiencing a winter blast.
Yeah, thankfully not us. Take a look at the video. Right now, people in Chicago digging out of the snow following a big blizzard. The snowfall has left some families actually trapped in their homes. Over to North Dakota, where blinding snow and wild weather have created near zero visibility on the roads. And in Minnesota, an ice house broke and fell through a frozen lake as temperatures plunged there. Now, the East Coast could see some trouble spots later today, and of course, what we care about is what's happening right here at home. Big change in the weather.
Yeah.
Colder today.
Yep, and fortunately, though, those big storms like we just talked about, we see, though, they're never a surprise, Hank. The computer models get a good handle on those, and I don't see any of those in our forecast for quite a while, actually. So we're okay in terms of normal winter weather. Right now, I guess we'll call this normal winter weather. Temperatures in the upper 20s to low 30s, and we have a west to west-northwest wind at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. So you factor that in with the temperatures, and wind chills are in the upper teens to low 20s, and it's going to be that way all day long. These numbers are really not going to change, so that's what you ought to prepare for when you head out the door. So we have lots of clouds. You know that. You've looked out the window. You've seen that. And what I'm watching is the southern part of Lake Michigan just to see if anything in the way of snowflakes are trying to develop. Nothing. We're seeing a little bit of very few light snowflakes to the north, but what I'm watching out here to the west, notice there's a little, it looks like it just went away. A little pocket of snow there. There's an upper level disturbance. It's not a real strong feature, but it's going to track right along the southern part of the state late this afternoon, and that could just be enough with the winds coming off the lake, the fat part of Lake Michigan down here. That's the warmer waters. We could maybe get a couple of flurries or a few light snow showers, but it's certainly not going to be anything that's going to be impactful to your roads or anything like that. So here we are in the model with all the cloud cover. The model's handling things very well, stopping it at 4 o'clock. If you look really carefully, you're not going to have time to get a magnifying glass, but you can see a couple little blips of blue there. So again, maybe a flurry, maybe a snow shower, not a big deal. Then we break up this cloud cover tomorrow. Perfect timing, too. Middle part of the day with temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. We're in good shape there. But then the clouds increase again late afternoon and tomorrow night. This comes through. Again, not a big system. It's just going to get windy and cold again behind it with snow showers. So just normal winter weather. All right, 32 is stable temperature this afternoon, and the wind chill staying the same in the low 20s or so, upper teens in some spots. And again, there could be a flurry or a snow shower. So keep that in mind. If you're heading down to Menorah and the D, there will be thousands of people on Campus Martius. Wind chills will be in the low 20s downtown early this evening, so bundle up before you come on down. All right, let's talk about more normal winter weather. So from 32 today, 37 with the sunshine tomorrow. That's going to be a pretty nice winter day. Thursday is going to be a breezy, raw day with snow showers, so you'll see some real winter weather there. Things will kind of settle down a bit on Friday. Saturday still looks like some either light snow or maybe a little light rain mixed in during the day, but right now it looks like New Year's Eve itself will be dry. And then look at next week, warming back up into the mid to upper 40s with rain returning to the area, but a big cool down after that, Hank.
All right, Paul, thank you. Still to come here at noon, surprise guest. Around the holidays, unexpected people tend to show up, but people in one town received a very surprising guest. The video you have to see right after the break.
Replay song.
A massive Australian fur seal became quite comfortable during a visit to a town, but he's now headed back to the wild.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Photos captured the seal sitting on parked cars in a small town on the island of Tasmania, which is situated south of Australia. This car hood photo spread cost thousands of dollars in damage to this vehicle, and others the seal found just cozy. Parks and wildlife officers later captured the seal while it was sleeping, and workers planned to give the animal a medical checkup and release it back into the wild.
He seems just fine there. He's just hanging out.
He's chilling,
yeah.
You know, just a little afternoon on a car.
Well, back to our afternoon here, a little bit colder than yesterday.
Yeah,
quite a bit colder.
Wind chills in the 20s through the afternoon.
All right, Paul, thank you. We're back here at 4 o'clock. Remember, all the news, weather, and traffic you need 24/7 at ClickOnDetroit.com.